Hello, welcome to Movies Explained. Today we are going to take a look at an action thriller movie titled, Taken. If you haven't watched this movie yet, watch this video at your own discretion. Spoilers ahead. Former CIA officer Brian Mills attempts to build a closer relationship with his 17-year-old daughter, Kim, who lives with her mother and his ex-wife Lenore, and her wealthy stepfather, Stuart. He visits them at Kim's birthday party. We learn that Kim wants to be a singer, when Brian gifts her a karaoke machine. Her stepfather walks in with a better gift for her and Kim is over the moon. Brian is clearly upset that Kim didn't like his gift as much. Later, a bunch of his friends come over and suggest that he take up a job as a security officer for a pop star named Shira. He agrees to oversee security at a concert for her. After the concert, as the crowds break in and follow her, Brian rushes her to safety. On their way, a man with a knife tries to attack Shira, but Brian saves her life. Out of gratitude, Shira offers to have Kim assessed as a singer, when Brian mentions Kim's ambition. Kim meets with Brian for lunch and he is excited to tell her about this opportunity. Before Brian can tell her about the offer, Kim asks him for permission to travel to Paris with her best friend, Amanda. He is concerned about her safety and refuses permission. Kim cries and storms out of the restaurant, and Lenore blames him for being a bad father. Brian eventually gives her permission to go, and tells her to call him every day to let him know of her whereabouts. On their way to the airport, Brian advises Kim to be careful in Paris, but Kim thinks he is being paranoid. At the airport, Brian learns that Kim lied and the girls are actually planning to follow a rock band during their European tour. Regardless, Brian lets Kim go and bids goodbye. Upon arriving at the airport in Paris, Kim and Amanda try to take a picture together. They meet Peter, a handsome young stranger who offers to take their picture. He asks them if they want to share a taxi and they agree. He drops them off at Amanda's cousin's apartment, when Kim finds out that the cousins are in Spain. After the girls go inside, Peter takes a call and gives the address of the two girls to someone. Kim calls Brian to tell him that Amanda's cousins are in Spain and she didn't know about it. Just then, Kim sees some men enter the apartment and attack Amanda. She cries and tells Brian about it, and he asks her to go to the nearest room and hide under the bed. He gives her instructions to shout out the descriptions of her abductor when they come for her. Hiding under the bed, she lets Brian listen to the men talking, as they are speaking a different language. When she is dragged out from hiding, she yells out the words mustache, 6 feet, tattoo on right hand, moon and star. As Brian listens closely, he hears someone breathing on the phone, and tells the listener that he will find them and kill them if they hurt his daughter. The listener only replies, "Good luck," before ending the call. Sam, an old friend and former colleague of Brian, deduces that the kidnappers are part of an Albanian sex trafficking ring and identifies the listener as mob boss, Marco Oia. Based on previous history, Kim must be found within 96 hours or she will likely be lost forever. Soon after, Brian flies to Paris and breaks into the apartment to look for clues. While listening to Kim's voice recording, he visualizes the whole incident. He even gets under the bed to try and see things from Kim's perspective. He later finds Peter's reflection in a picture on Kim's phone. At the airport, Peter attempts to lure another woman into sharing a taxi with him. Before they get into the cab, Brian finds Peter and tries to capture him, but he escapes. While fleeing, an oncoming truck runs over Peter and kills him. With his only lead dead, Brian follows an old contact, former French intelligence agent Jean-Claude Pitrel, who now has a desk job. Jean-Claude informs him of the local red light district, where the Albanian prostitution ring operates, but warns him not to get involved. At night, Brian drives to this location with a translator. Brian walks over to one of the girls and deliberately says stuff to anger her, so he would get noticed by the traffickers. One of the bosses walk over and Brian sticks a microphone on him. He walks back to the car and listens to the conversations. The translator tells him that they are talking about a job at a construction site, something about fresh merchandise arriving. Brian immediately knows what this means. He drives to the construction site and waits in line to enter a shed. Inside, he discovers a brothel with many drugged young women. In one room, he he spots the denim jacket Kim was wearing the day she left. But, it is another girl on the bed. Brian fights off everyone at the site, gets into a gunfight and drives away with the girl. He takes the girl to a hotel and helps her get better. The next morning, the girl wakes up and tells Brian of a house with a red door where she and Kim were kept. She remembers the name of the street from the night she was abducted. Brian enters the house posing as Jean-Claude. They let him in and he walks into a room full of traffickers. He pretends to renegotiate the police protection rate with them, and before he leaves, he identifies Marco Oya by tricking him into repeating the words, "Good luck." Brian recalls the voice from Kim's voice recording. The meeting erupts into a fight and Brian fights off all the men, resulting in the deaths of several gangsters, except Marco. Brian walks along the hallways and finds several heavily drugged girls, tied to the beds. He finds Amanda, but she has died from overdose. Brian ties up Marco to a chair and tortures him with electricity. Marco reveals that virgins like Kim have high value in the black market and are quickly sold. He discloses that the buyer is a gangster named Patrice St. Clair. Brian leaves Marco to die from continuous electrocution and exits the building. Later that evening, he visits Jean-Claude's apartment. Having discovered Jean-Claude's corruption, Brian wounds his wife to coerce him into disclosing St. Clair's location, before knocking him out. Brian disguises himself as a policeman and goes to a party hosted at St. Clair's Manor. He takes out a security officer in the elevator and enters a room as a waiter. He happens to infiltrate a covert sex slave auction taking place beneath the manor. He serves wine to a Middle Eastern guy named Ali who pays $250,000 for a girl. The last item of the sale is announced and a girl covered in a black hood is brought in. It is Kim, and she is heavily drugged and forced to display herself to the buyers. Brian points a gun at the man and forces him to purchase her. The bidding continues and Kim is sold for $500,000. When the sale is closed and they leave, Brian is hit from behind and he passes out. When he wakes up, he is handcuffed to a pipe and St. Clair is talking to him. When St. Clair learns who he is, he orders his henchmen to kill him. A guy strangles him with a belt, but Brian breaks loose and kills them all. He shoots St. Clair in the elevator, and he reveals that Kim was sold to a sheik named Rahman and is taken to his yacht, before Brian executes him. Outside the manor, Brian sees Ali driving away and he runs after the car. He sees Kim being taken inside the yacht, but he is too far away. As the yacht takes off, Brian steals a car and races to a bridge and jumps onto the yacht. A gunfight erupts inside the yacht and Brian eliminates all the bodyguards. A brutal fight breaks out between Ali and Brian, but Ali is killed at the end. Finally, Brian finds Rahman in his suite, where he is holding Kim at knife point. Rahman attempts to negotiate and just then, Brian kills him with a headshot. Kim falls into the arms of Brian, crying in relief. Back in the United States, Kim is reunited with her mother and stepfather. The movie ends when Brian surprises Kim by taking her to see Shira the pop star. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.